Today we are exploring how travel brands exist and stay relevant in the age of generative AI. So if Google changed travel quite forever with SEO a few decades ago, now generative AI are reshaping discoverability, search, and user behaviors in the whole travel ecosystem. I'm Sidney Zeder, I'm a consulting director at Artefact, and I'm delighted to be joined today with Johannes, CEO at Trivago, Gilles Karlé, COO at Kiwi, Piero, Chief AI Officer at Skyscanner, and Matthias Keller, Chief Product Officer at KAYAK. So it's a unique panel today because you all sit at the intersection of search, comparison, and decision making. So let's jump right in. Johannes first. Indeed, we see that generative AI is now creating a new discovery layer. What is your perspective on how travel brands should rethink their search and visibility on this LLM-driven world?
Yeah, thanks a lot for having us. You picked the warmest room in the venue. I hope you also care about brands in the space of AI. I wonder how many of you are representing a brand of some kind in B2C. Okay, so if you already have a brand these days, certainly along with a very strong product that is optimized for user satisfaction, that's optimized for conversion, I think those brands, and I think this group stands for that as well, I think have a very strong position in the chain, because it matters what comes up in mind when you think about booking a hotel, booking a flight, and so on. I remember 2010, we have been hugely dependent on Google. We had 80–90% of our business coming through Google SEO and SEM. And back in the days, we saw when Google did ranking changes, it had a huge impact on our business. And since then, we have been investing billions of euros, hundreds of millions every year into getting our brand on top of consumers' minds. So when they think about hotel, we want them to think about Trivago. Yeah, and I think that's something that remains extremely important apart from a strong product. And when I think about the technology that's now available, it just allows us to do crazy things. Yeah, where we, before the pandemic, we have been 1,500 people. During the pandemic, we've downsized the company to 600. And now we don't need to upsize again. With 600 people, we can do what companies of 6,000 people can do. And effectively, with features live in our product where hundreds of people were working on, and now it's 10 people. So it's really great opportunities that have come around the corner and doing new things that are pretty impressive and huge opportunities. So great product along with a strong brand, I think, is a very strong position. High dependency on a few channels. I would question if that is a winning strategy moving forward.
Thanks, Johannes. That's very interesting. Gilles, on your end, we also see that these shifts discovery and early engagement step funnel. What is your perspective on how it changes consumer behaviors at Kiwi?
Sure. So, hi everyone. Look, I mean, we've been doing search in flights. We're mostly doing flights, right? So for almost 15 years now, and it's super hard to make customers change their habits. And I mean, it's not that we haven't tried, or it's not like we're short of ideas, honestly. And for the past 15 years that I've been working in the industry, I mean, we tried thousands of new things, but no big disruption there. So I don't really think that this is going to be a very, very fast change. We just need to continue working on that. And what we are seeing, and we've been doing a lot of stuff, even recently with AI. And the funny thing is, whenever we try something a little bit too different, it's a catastrophe, honestly. We did like hundreds of iterations of a text-based or language-based search engine. I should be ashamed of saying it, but our conversion rate dropped 70–80%. there, okay? So we had to iterate hundreds and hundreds of times and go back to something that is actually much more, let's say, closer to what customers are used for. So what I'm trying to say here is that basically our biggest competitor is habit, right? That's how we need to look at it. So the way that we approach that at Kiwi is if our customers don't change fast, our teams have to change very fast, right? So we basically took the opposite angle, that is, okay, how can we leverage AI to learn much faster from our customers and to iterate much faster? So, I mean, a little bit to what you were saying, right? I mean, we're now able to run hundreds of experiments every week, right? We can segment in an almost infinite way, but more importantly, we can process all of that intelligence, all of that information almost instantly, so we can just learn much faster. So for us, the real revolution is how fast we are capable of actually, learning from our customers, closing the loops, and see how this goes. So far, if we don't present the customers with a wall of results, which I'm pretty sure everyone here would agree with me that it's like the least optimal way to present results. Conversion rate just drops, and customer experience also is damaged. I mean, we were getting customer feedback, so qualitative and quantitative data. It was like horrendous. I mean, people were shouting at us like, "What the hell did you do with my search?" So it's going to take time. We're going to get there, but we need to patiently do that, be ready, and be much closer to our customers. So at least AI is unlocking that for us.
I would second that. Yeah? So whenever we do free AI search or functionalities that are not throughout the ordinary user experience, adoption is very low, and we don't have signals that users are hugely satisfied with that. So that is pretty thrilling to see, and how quickly this will evolve. If you think about the mobile evolution, it took 10 years until mobile overtook desktop. So it's really a long journey. That certainly can be a bit faster this time, but it's not that habits change faster.
Thank you both. Piero, at Skyscanner, what is your perspective on the key changes that you observe as AI discoverability grows?
So I definitely agree with what we're saying here, but we also do see that the world is moving from search to answers. And so whether that's, you're getting used to asking questions in ChatGPT or in Google with AI mode that they're rolling out, or in Alexa, or in Perplexity, and all these different chatbot experiences, you end up getting an answer, a direct answer, instead of just 10 blue links. And that is very compelling for a lot of scenarios, not for all of the scenarios that we cover, but especially for the top of the funnel exploration. It is quite a compelling thing. And we are seeing quite a bit of adoption of that. And we do see that maybe 47% of customers have already used AI planning in some capacity. So it's definitely growing. The traffic that we are getting from those channels is interesting. When it comes to Skyscanner, we get smaller traffic from that kind of channel than we do from traditional Google search, but that traffic converts a lot better, so it's much higher qualified. By the time they come to Skyscanner, they're ready to do the next step or to finish their booking. So that's quite interesting, and that shift is happening, but it seems to be incremental. So Skyscanner's maybe seeing 2% of our traffic is coming from these AI channels. It's growing really fast, maybe 300% from just January. But also our main organic channels are growing. So it appears to be that we are just adding a new channel and a new way for people to ask certain kinds of questions that we need to answer. Now, if people are going to get answers instead of choices in a chatbot, for example, then trust is very, very important, because answers without good data are really, really hard to provide. We did a survey recently that found that 49% of travelers worldwide are very worried about AI and trust. In France, it was maybe 30%, just flat out distrusted what they were getting in terms of the AI answers when it comes to travel. So the industry does have a problem here. I think that, I'll speak mostly for the meta search industry here, because we have Kiwi represented as well. But I definitely think that we have a role to play empowering these AI experiences, whether they be on a different channel. So whether you're in a chatbot, I would expect that you would be able to get Skyscanner data, Trivago data, KAYAK data into those experiences. Or when they come to us, I think there will be an expectation created that you can use natural language as well as the traditional tools. And so that's the thing that we're looking to adopt to. And ultimately, we just want to serve travelers wherever they are.
It's true. What we're seeing is customers are having a hard time delegating the final decision to a whoever, actually. But I mean, on the top funnel, we're seeing traction on how to use new ways of searching and new tools. Yeah, when it comes to conversion rate, we're at the early stage of being able to, even if you get a curated set of results of only 3 results, I mean, the conversion rate drops, even though those were the exact 3 that end up being booked when people are presented with hundreds. So it's true that top funnel we're seeing some traction. Lower funnel it's pretty hard to change that habit of customers being able to decide based on an exhaustive list of results. It's improving, and we have a lot of work to do, and there is a lot of opportunity, but we have to be patient and consistent in our trials.
Matthias, on your end, how do you see this changing from generative AI on how people are searching and booking at KAYAK?
Yes, so hi everyone. First, what has been said really resonates. Adoption is not super high on these AI tools, and I think it comes back to the first principles. The user is not coming to our pages because they want to try out AI and kick some tires. They're coming to our pages because they want to travel. Maybe it's their family trip, maybe it's a business trip. And they want to make sure, because it can be a very high purchase decision, they want to make sure they get the best price. And you don't want to get to a hotel that is, maybe the beach is not great, or so many considerations can go in when you travel. So they don't come here for the AI, they come for the content. And this is an interesting opportunity because AI can be used to enhance the experience as we see on the research. So a lot of users actually go to ChatGPT and Perplexity because they can ask all these questions. Can I bring my pet on this airline? Is there a nice restaurant near the hotel? Whatever they may ask, go into days of conversation. And the opportunity here is now that discovery is almost getting commoditized. And what we believe in is really the combination. And so we have a long journey with AI products. It started with Amazon Alexa many years ago, but if you look at the current generation, where we started with our test bed of a KAYAK AI, which is really specific for people who, I see conversations there of people researching something all about a trip that I want to get to this specific ferry that only leaves 1 time a day to some island. And I think we have to make the job here to not have people come in for the sake of AI, but to really elevate their experience in giving them this comprehensive tool that can solve all their travel problems, mixed together with our unique knowledge of available content, the best prices, all the places where you can book them, a transparent and honest view for the customer, how the experience is going to be when they go book on a Kiwi versus at the airline versus anywhere else. And one thing that we see a lot in the product development, and we have probably 6, 7 different AI experiences that we test right now, is that whenever we start seeing the first designs and it says like this and this with AI, I would first say to the people on my team, strike the AI out there. Nobody cares about it being AI. People care about being able to compare hotels and flights and get this unique perspective, what's different between these 3, 4-star hotels that are all in the same location. They don't come just for the sake of using AI. And all in all, this is a great opportunity for us to really elevate the products and give users better access to all these things, where they no longer have to think about, where do I have to start on KAYAK to find this? They just go to the text box, enter their problem, and we guide them the best way, with and without AI.
Thank you, Matthias. Now, let's zoom in into the competition landscape, especially because we see that LLM players such as OpenAI are opening into the conversion funnel step. Johannes, how do you see this competition evolving for travel brands?
Yeah, maybe I want to touch base on what you said, and partially you said it as well. I'm really not convinced that a chatbot experience is the best experience to imagine for travel. And each of our products, each of our websites is a result of thousands of tests over decades. So why Trivago looks like it looks today is not because I like it to look like that. It is because every data point, every signal we get from our users is that maximizes the probability to convert a user, to deliver a user to the booking. And then it's a question for us, how much time do we save and how much money do we save the user? And then a chatbot experience can actually make your time to what you actually want longer. Yeah, and the more often you experience this, you might not do it. Will they adapt their user interface and so on? You've seen a Google product that came to life last week that certainly got quite some attention in travel, because they are actually bringing chatbot and their hotel product together. And if I think about travel, it's one of the most competitive environment ever since. Yeah, Google was there 20 years ago, very relevant in the game. We are all in the game for a long time. There's big players, but there's nobody dominating the space. Everybody is there because it's big, but travel is also very messy. Yeah, people normally have dozens of sites. They check while they are booking, they're finding their destination, booking their hotel. It's also part of the experience that I shop around and want to get inspired and see what all the options are. And I cannot explicitly transfer it sometimes into what I want. If I haven't been in Paris, I cannot explicitly say what I want. Yeah, so I actually need to get my head around the city and around the type of hotels that are here. So the shopping is part of a very important about the decision-making process. And then I think Gen AIs will be part of the game, and maybe there will be new avenues where we need to be present in these Gen AI experiences. We are with Google, we are working with other players, and that will be important. And having a brand, talking the session brand, will still be important. If you are shown in Google, if you are shown in ChatGPT and people know you, it gives you a big advantage in them clicking on you because they already have a certain level of trust that you deliver on. So it's hugely competitive ever since. Will it evolve and change? Yes, but I think that is what makes us get up in the morning and think harder about how we solve travelers' problems.
That's quite reassuring in a sense. Gilles, how do you see this generative AI shifts in terms of new product or innovation launch?
I mean, as I said, we really look at it about not how shiny it looks, or to relate to what you say, okay, they say that the fact that it says AI on our products, customers don't care. Investors care, but customers, they want to get to, booking their flights, booking their hotels, their experience, and it's a very difficult decision. And the fear of missing out is huge there, so they need to be exposed to go through a process, an exhaustive one, as you said, to make a final decision. So the way that we looked at it is we really wanted to actually use AI about how we solve actual customer problems, how we build products, how we ship products, how we learn, how we close the learning loops with our customers. So, of course, we started a lot with the customer servicing part, which is in that industry a nightmare. I don't know if any of us has ever experienced great customer service until recently. So we really looked at it. For us, it's AI is not really a way of replacing people or getting rid of costs. It's actually a way to just getting rid of bad experience, right? So when this came up, when this technology was made available to us, right, it was finally an opportunity for us to do something that we've been trying to do for the past 15 years almost. That is, okay, how do we actually make customer service a okay, if not good, experience, right? So, and that's exactly what we did. And it took a year, let's say, of a hard work, but we got to a place where our NPS is now 70 and over, right? Which is in that industry, I don't think that it's been seen ever, and it was impossible before. We were pouring money at customer support, and we're trying to solve that for our customers, and still feedback was really, really bad. Okay, our NPS was negative. So. So really for us, we built like a network of agents, so an agent XCS basically, right? Which is available 24/7 in all languages, on multiple channels and so on, so real-time I mean, it's super consistent. You know, it can solve actual problems in a couple of seconds or minutes. It's synchronized with our products, as I was saying, right? We're running hundreds of experiments every day. And of course, when you do that, you damage customer service experience because you have a disconnect between your product and your customer support. You cannot train a floor of 2,000 agents every day. So this was a great achievement for us, and we're just at the beginning, and it's really something that helped us with AI. But I mean, not only that, we also completely rethought the way that we are building products and the way that we are experimenting, as I said, right? So we built a new guarantee product in the past year for our customers, and we managed to run hundreds of versions of that product in a matter of months. So we got to a product maturity much faster than we could ever wish for. And we have our product managers that can actually expose their ideas to real customers. They can ship to production without engineering, you know, the delivery, the path to production is like completely shortened and only a couple of steps and clicks away. So we do market research, not by, you know, documenting stuff or by even doing like surveys. No, we just ship to production to actual customers and see what happens, okay? Same as before, 80% of the things, huge failure, 20% okay success, you know, but still you get to that, getting rid of that 80% of big failures super fast like this, right? So for us, it's really about how we can close that loop. I don't believe that it's not about, you know, success is not about like having the biggest models or, you know, having like, you know, the most shiny AI agents out there. I mean, it's just about how fast you can close the loop with the customers and how fast and accurately you can solve actual problems for customers. And for us, this has been a huge change, right? I mean, we could do like 10, 15x on the number of releases that we can do in a week. We can completely fast track everything we're doing. And in the end, this benefits the customers because they actually get to be exposed to products that actually solve their problems. And it's not about what we think, you know, that the customers should behave. It's about how they actually behave and how we learn from that.
One thing to customer service I was surprised of, that it's still very expensive. If you have a live agent talking to another person, it uses a lot of tokens. So actually a customer service call, and there you can even do outbound calls. And if you have live responding AI, it's a little bit cheaper than talking to a human, but quality is better. And so our latest numbers were 60 to 70% of a human cost call. It's still, if you have a high quality model talking to a person. So it's not necessarily a price game, it's really a quality game because it's hard to get humans up to speed to the complexity that a system has. Yeah?
Sure, it improves drastically quality. On our side, I mean, the costs are incomparable with before. I mean, I think that if you build in-house, you know, if you use if you just like not build like a wrapper on someone else's AI, I mean, our token costs are very, very under control. It's incomparable with our, let's say, human agents costs. What we can do is that we can repurpose some of those agents to actually solve very, very difficult cases, even though our agentic CS can actually also solve a lot of complex cases. But we can actually put human beings in front of customers that are in a very, very stressful situation. You're stuck at the airport, you know, you missed your flight has been canceled. I mean, there are lots of things. We do a lot of crazy stuff with flights on our side. So of course, our customers sometimes suffer the consequences of our creativity, let's say. But by doing that, we actually have now the ability to, yes, call them proactively, reach out to them proactively, you know, either let them interact with our agentic CS or talk to someone who also is better trained, you know, has better support thanks to our AI agents, you know, can solve problems in 2-3 minutes where it used to take them 20, 30, sometimes an hour, or sometimes having to call the customer like 5 times because you have to call the airlines and then you have to call something else and so on. So it was like very, very difficult. We've managed to actually make that experience much better and to get to some sort of a neutral satisfaction level, even in extremely stressful situations for our customers.
Super interesting, thank you. So now with 1 out of 3 guests searching for and planning its travel on LLMs, those providers are now trying to recommend the best options. Piero, what makes the unique value of meta search today?
Yes, so that's a great question, and we have 3 meta searches represented here. I'll speak for Skyscanner, but I think it applies more broadly. Ultimately, the data that you require for these answers is absolutely critical, and travel is some of the most complex ecosystem to actually try to understand. Within travel, I believe flights is one of the most complex of all. Unlike e-commerce, where there's maybe a product on a shelf with a SKU number that you just put a price on, in the flights world, the inventory is only created and priced when you do a search in real time, dynamically. So companies like Skyscanner, KAYAK, et cetera, Trivago, we search the entire market. In our case, we do 100 billion prices every single day. We talk to thousands of partners. We run that through 50-odd machine learning models in order to get you that best view of the market. And I think there is this myth that AI will just make that go away, that problem gets solved because, I don't know, ChatGPT will talk directly to one partner or two or do a quick SEO search. That will not actually solve the data problem for those trustworthy answers that people need. On top of that, picking up on the point that you said earlier, Johannes, I completely agree. Travelers love the simple, beautiful, highly tailored user experiences that we have created that have taken 20 years or so of very careful fine-tuning to provide the perfect, simple way to slice through all that data. When you're looking through 100 hotels or 1,000 different flights and trying to figure out what's right for you, the chatbot might not be the right interface for that. We can show some data into these chatbots, and we will, but ultimately when people really want to sit down and get past the top of the funnel into that comparison state, they need trusted comparison tools that they're familiar with, to your point as well. Skyscanner is a beautifully simple experience. We try to keep it as simple as possible for travelers, and so I think that still is going to be very valuable. Now, it does not mean that we are not going to add natural language search and AI to those experiences. The traditional search funnels will become richer with AI. If you're in hotels, you might be able to get what you do. On Skyscanner and on other sites, you can get the reviews summarized for you by AI. So you don't have to read 1,000 reviews. The AI will read them for you. There are plenty of opportunities for AI in the funnel, but those traditional experiences are still valuable for people, as are the trusted brands that come with that. So between the data being absolutely key in meta search, searching the whole market, and the user experience being not necessarily best served in a chatbot, we believe that meta search has a greater role to play actually in this world, new opportunities. We're excited about powering these AIs wherever they are and following travelers wherever they are, so on the chatbots. But we're not going to turn Skyscanner into a chatbot. We're just going to bring in natural language in a very natural way onto our experiences.
Thank you. And Matthias, on KAYAK, how do you position yourselves toward those new distribution channels?
Yeah, so first I want to give a bit more color to what Piero just said, how messy flights can be. You start with an airfare that is published by an airline, and you can, of course, search and book it. But now an OTA, and this could be Kiwi, they may sell it, let's say, together with an insurance. So the $300 over here are not the same as the $310 over there. Now, they may not just only add the insurance or maybe the first bag, they may also change the fees. So if, let's say, the airline charges $100 for the bag, could be $120 or $80 on an OTA. And then the third step is that we can create completely new content. We do that at KAYAK, we call it hacker fares. It's bringing together 2 different flights as a competitive price to a round trip on the same airline. And of course, there are so many travel hacks out there that get applied at different layers that just create completely new content on the shelf. And I think this is where, in other words, this is something to say that there is a reason why there are so many consumers who come directly to our services, because we provide a value to them. They understand that there's a lot of work going into producing this wall of results that I think Gilles said. And it's not only our marketing that we search hundreds of sites at once. It's truly these hundreds of different sites that get all searched, put together, deduplicated, ordered with machine learning and all these different things that add this unique value that you get when you come to a meta search engine. Now, you could say, of course, everyone could now start and focus on building another meta search engine, But it's hard to imagine that this is in the direct path of these new LLMs who have basically the whole world to cover. And same as what Piero said, for us it's an interesting opportunity. There are now new places. They work a little bit different than SEO. The users are more qualified because they make more research. But at the end of the day, they still will have to transact. And it's hard to imagine that, what also has been said by Johannes, it's a little bit in the shopping experience. Before I buy, I want to see the shelf. I don't want to have someone just come from the back room and say like, this is the only thing I have, or this is the best thing, please click book. I want to see what's available, because maybe I don't trust the system. Maybe I just want to know that, I want to make sure that there is nothing better. Maybe I can leave 2 hours earlier or whatever, right? So I want to see these results. I want to see that it's the best price. I want to know what's coming for me. What happens if I need a bag? What happens if I want to select my seat? All these different things. And that really adds this unique opportunity of capturing the folks who did all the research, still coming to us, see the shelf, and eventually transact with the feeling that they have discovered everything. Certainly, we want to use AI to make it easier for them. We don't want you to run 20 searches to find what you want. If it were only 5 searches, that is a lot better. But all in all, we also deeply believe that the comparison, looking at the shelf, is still going to be very relevant and important. And it's a lot of work to produce the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, we're also playing a lot with making, our UX very machine compatible, right? And if and when chats or whatever other AI user-facing interface is going to be more widely used by travel consumers, we want to make sure that not only the way that we have built our UX so far, that it's very compatible with how humans take a decision. It's also now being machine readable and actionable, so that we are actually relevant when that habit actually builds up, right? And we start already saying, that's how we built our ChatGPT app, for instance, right? And you can build on top of that. It's still not like consumers don't consume travel the same way as they would consume, stuff that they buy on Amazon, like the same, stop bar every week that you can pre-order. The decision is a bit more difficult, so we have to make our content and our intelligence available for those AI models, so that you can serve really the customers to make the right informed decision. It's a long process. It's a very, very difficult process. Even playing with AI brothers, we've built a version of our app, a version of our website that is AI brother compatible. Even that is quite complex because it's changing very fast, and there is low adoption as well on the customer side, so it's hard to experiment super fast. But still, I think that the way that my colleagues here said, right? Booking flights. I will speak about flights, better about hotels. We're trying to make it easier for our customers, but it's a very, very difficult choice. So any help here is welcome. So if AI models can help us solve that, we will definitely continue doubling down on this and jumping on that opportunity.
Thank you. One last question in one sentence each. What is the one thing that travel brands must do to stay relevant in this new age of generative AI?
So what I tell my teams mostly is understand what's noise, because a lot in AI is hyped, and people are doing fundraising and want big stories, but a lot is, I think, just hot air. So what's noise, and then what's really signal? What makes a difference for you as a company, for your brand building, for your product, driving adoption and conversion? Being laser focused on that. And it's usually the 5 to 10% of things that are important and drive a difference, and not too many of the 90% distraction things. Because we have a fast-paced environment, it will rather accelerate, and being competitive means being extremely laser focused on what matters.
Yeah, I would say customer relevance and speed. For us, it's all about that. We don't believe in us I mean, I like what you said. It's not that your app doesn't look the way that it does just because you like it, which is sometimes the case, especially from CEOs, right? But it's just making sure that we can learn much faster from our customers and solve their actual needs and problems. So yeah, that's what we keep in mind all the time.
It's very similar for me. I tell the team, great answers require great data, and Skyscanner has that data, and we have that data because we've stayed focused on our travelers and our partners and serving them. AI is a means to an end, it's not the end. And so let's just stay focused on getting that great data and powering those AIs wherever they show up and serving the travelers wherever they are.
Our angle is that thinking of AI as a similar evolution, such as apps, we just want to make sure that we can meet our customers where they want to use us. Today, it is all browsers and apps, but if tomorrow we have a little AI pin, or if we see, or as we see today already, that there is more research happening in LLMs, we definitely want to be there for the service of our customers and support them with our data for their booking decisions.
Thank you so much for those very insightful perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.